I think the most pain obviously would be if he said something bullish and we actually go higher. So that's where the most pain would be for a lot of these short sellers, because this is too easy. It just feels so simple. This is where the resistance is, and this is where people are looking to short it. And undoubtedly, bear stepped in. So I don't know. I truly don't know which direction we go in. I think it's just easier to watch the 1 minute chart and see what he says. I think someone's like introing him earlier. I read that earlier, but I don't know if he's on the mic yet, if he's talking yet. I have no idea. We will see. Regardless, I think whatever he says, we are going to play a beautiful S-curve, regardless of what he says and which direction we head in, bullish or bearish, we're going to play a beautiful S-curve today. So I think that's going to be exciting. So if we did something like boop, went up, 500 points, immediately, as soon as he said something, I think the pullback is going to be extremely enticing. Or if we just dropped like a dead rock, I think that pullback is going to be exciting too. So we will see. As of right now, I think it's just suicide to trade while any of the Feds are talking or trying to guess the direction in whichever way this is going to take. So I don't anticipate a trade today earlier in the morning, especially futures trade. But anyway, all right, let's look at something I looked at my mentorship group yesterday. I just thought it was so amazing. You guys had to take a look at it. So here is MNQ, and let's go to the 4-hour chart. I think this is a much cleaner, neater chart. And if we put 2 lines right here, there we go. Okay, so these are Qs, futures department for QQQ. Now, we broke out and didn't hold. We retested that level and we went lower. So with that in mind, guys, we know when we don't hold breakouts, what do? We come all the way down to the bottom. So if while he's on the mic, we fail to go higher than 11,200, I think it's going to get a little bit rocky. So brace yourselves for that. Last time I saw something similar like that was here. So if we put the same exact lines over here, now, again, it's not super perfect, but here we go. Just roll with it. So here, we tried to break down on this channel one time, well, just by barely a couple of wicks, and then we tried to break down again, didn't really work, double bottomed and went higher. Didn't really hold, wicked, trapped a whole bunch of bulls, and then we went lower. Something exactly similar is happening over here. If we adjust this guy up a little bit, we tried to break down a couple of times, didn't really work, went higher, and now we tried to break out. So regardless of which way we go, guys, I think it's going to be an interesting one with a lot of range today. So if we go higher, lots of room to go up. If we go lower, lots of room to go lower. It's going to be fun. Great day. So there. Dan says it'll be 10 minutes before Powell speaks, but he already did release his speech. What was he going to say, Dan? Do you know? Good morning, Chuck. How's it going? But yeah, so I think regardless, it'll be a fun trading day today. Let's go look at SPY real quick. And here is our boy SPY. Failed breakouts normally always come back down to the bottom. So in this channel, oh my God, what a sideways momentum this was. It was frustrating almost. I couldn't wait for a breakout, but honestly, I think if we don't hold this level, it's very important that we hold this level. This just feels like it's too perfect of a breakdown. We don't hold this level, I could seriously see us coming down to here. and going lower, actually, as a matter of fact. So, and that would be a perfect head and shoulders then if we went lower. For those of you that cannot see it happen, here is how I envision if we went lower, the head and shoulders. So yeah, we'll just have to see which way it goes. Again, I tend to get super bearish on days like these, and then have a bearish opinion, and then I guess I look for specific trades in that direction. So I'm not trying to call a direction. I'm just trying to see which way, in which direction we would have a better opportunity to take a trade. I think bullish would seriously shock some bears. It would definitely be threatening to some bears. So that would be interesting to see which way we go. Win says, good morning. Good morning. Yeah, the questions, Dan says the robots like it, but the questions, yeah, when he gets asked those questions, he really just has, and it's weird because he has this straight face and emotes no emotions. So then it's hard to guess which way is he taking this, but anywho. Yeah. So it's interesting. We looked at the cues earlier, so let's not. If we went bullish, I think it would really shock people. So that would be scary for the cues too. It would hurt a lot of bears. So that's interesting, definitely. It is currently turning into a retest gap. It is gapping down, so it is a retest gap. I want to see what happens over here, especially at 267 range. I want to see what happens over here. Do we get some sort of fuel and bounce, or do we just hang around here? I don't know. We'll see. Let's go look at Apple. Well, first, I want to look at some interesting gaps earlier that I found. Nike got an upgrade and is earlier was gapping down. It is a little bit extended. If anybody wants to see how a gap fills, this would be a good ticker to keep an eye on. I do think this gap has to fill someday. I don't know if it's going to fill within this month or next, but I do think that this gap has to fill someday. I do want to point you guys to a beautiful pattern here on Nike, though. This is the weekly chart on Nike, and this is a perfect inverse head and shoulders breakout. So it was at resistance. We took out these tweezer tops. It is looking good currently. I think a pullback down to 118, 120 should definitely push this thing higher. I really like this chart for a breakout to the top side, maybe 145, but this would turn into a swing trade. Or if you guys wanted to do like a bull put spread down here, this would be amazing. When it comes to 120, it looks pretty decent. And at the same time, if we take this guy out, then I think it looks very interesting for a bear trade, for a breakdown. So this is definitely an interesting chart. Don't get caught sleeping on Nike. It looks really good right now. So yes, and as my New Year's resolution, I am open to trading bullish and bearish. So here's a bull scenario. All right, Dan's favorite, Boeing, got a downgrade today. And I really want to see, I mean, we could all see that this is extended, right? It's just been super extended. It needs a pullback. The RSI is super high, and we're going to, hope and wait for this pullback of 180 to get filled. I don't know if it'll come back that far today, but I really want to see what happens at the 200 level. What happens over here on the daily 10 EMA. So that's definitely an interesting one. Now, for those of you that are dying to short this, guys, just remember this is a pretty large gap, and it is a retest gap. So retest gaps will go higher and then roll over. So don't get caught. Just, don't rush into shorting this guy right at open. And we will see what happens over here. Lou says, looking at the NQ. Okay, is it doing anything? Is it moving around too much? No, not really. It's moving a tiny bit, sure. These are, I like this double bottom. I like this move up. Again, this is, it's just hard to guess which direction it's going to go in when somebody's on the mic. So we'll leave it alone for a little bit and then come back to it. Let's look at Apple real quick. Apple, on the other hand, this ticker, it just cracks me up. It's evidently broken down, right? This Head and Shoulders is validated at this point, and it's looking weak. So, if you're trading Apple, specifically, I would stick to more bear trades on Apple, more bear setups than bull setups. I think those, in my opinion, are much more likely to work for, day trades. Unless we gapped up over here, I'm not really excited about this chart. So nothing really screams excitement yet on this guy. So I think it's just going to do what the overall market does. It's not really, I want to see what it does at the 10 EMA. And then once it takes out a certain level, then it could get enticing. So yeah, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this guy and see what happens. I mean, it's definitely broken down on this, and then there is this Head and Shoulders. This wedge definitely broke down. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I truly think this gap is going to fill on Apple someday, and by someday I mean soon-ish. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on this. All right, moving on to AMDizzle. This guy really, really, really annoyed me so much. I had a $60 target on this, and it got there, but then didn't really fill me with options. So had to take a little bit less of a profit. And anyway, but yeah, I had a swing trade on this and bearish, and I got filled on this day right here. And yeah, looked great. With options on this day, it killed my puts. I could have made a lot more money, but then this gap up, it just killed my premium. So anyway, but AMD, I think, no, actually, it's doing something different than the overall market. AMD also didn't fall as much as some of the other tickers. Like, for example, Apple just had a pretty large red hammer, inverted hammer. AMD, not so much. So we'll keep an eye on this. Let's see what the hourly looks like. This looks interesting, to say the least. The hourly looks like it could do a wave 5. This could possibly be so I'm thinking 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So a new high is in place. That could be cool. Let's turn on gaps real quick. There we go. So it's bouncing, for stocks that are trying to go bullish, it's extremely important to just create downward gaps so then they can use that as support. AMD is looking interesting. And at the same time, if we don't bounce over here at 65, 63, I definitely think we're going to go fill that gap. So that could be interesting too. So we'll keep an eye on AMD. I think somewhere over here could be a good target. I don't know if it's going to get there today, but wave count wise, it looks interesting. We'll see. We'll just keep an eye on this guy. I like it to the bullish direction. If the markets take off, I think AMD could really, really go. That would be interesting to see. So yeah, we'll keep an eye. And down to the bear side, I think AMD could do something like this, retest that trend line. So if we're taking a bear trade below this guy, then I think it could definitely come down to this gap fill area and then retest this trend line. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this. I see some chats. Yes, Chuck says, I looked at your video back in November, December. Yeah, absolutely. I created a video on Apple. And I wondered if it was going to break down. But, Chuck, that monthly chart on Apple is just so perfect. You can't look away from it. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting. NVIDIA, let's look at this guy real quick on the daily. from a previous trade. She's got lines all over on NVIDIA. I did buy puts on NVIDIA, I think that day, or maybe that day. Might have been wrong, and I bought puts on that day. Looked great. This high wave candle was so spectacular. I got out of some of my puts over here, but I do have a couple of puts that are not profitable right now on NVIDIA. So I'm interested to see what happens on this guy. Do we go retest this line and roll over or not? As far as a day trade's concerned on this also looks better than majority of the tickers that we've looked at. I don't know if they all just kind of gapped up currently because the Qs are going up slightly, or did they, earlier they looked like this. Let's go look at it on a 3-minute chart, and we'll turn on extended hours. Let's see if they all just got a push. Yeah, they all just kind of sort of got a push recently. So this volume just came in. Okay, cool. We will see. On NVIDIA, ideally, what I want to do today is practice a cool day trading strategy. So what we're going to do is just put lines on pre-market high and pre-market low, and see what happens. Which direction do we take out? This would be the pre-market low. All right, cool. So which direction do we break in, or do we just bounce around here? I don't know. We'll see. So we'll practice that today. And I think today would be a good day to do that with. If you ask me, honestly, let's look at the larger time frames. Yeah, if you ask me, I think these things are still in a wave 4, and it could go make a new high. That would be interesting to see on NVIDIA for sure. It's looking good. I mean, this is a pretty clean double bottom with a different double bottom. Looks good. Looks great. Good example of gaps on top acting as resistance usually. Let's go look at, we'll keep an eye on NVIDIA for sure, and come back to it. Let's go look at Roblox. I don't want to waste too much time. And if you guys have a specific ticker that you want to look at, let me know. Sam says, hey Malones, do you think there is a reverse head and shoulders on Microsoft? Yeah, absolutely. Let's go look at it. Let's go look at Microsoft real quick. Softy looks, ooh, yes, I like this, Sam, definitely. If we take this guy out, I would be more interested on doing something like this, where I would want to enter a trade above 229. But if we break below this, then it could also get interesting, right? So if we take this guy out, then we will break this trend line that's in place. It's not an accurate one, but we'll make do. So we'll break that trend line, and we will invalidate this inverse head and shoulders. So yeah, I like this a lot. Bullish, bearish, either way, looks great. A lot of tickers look that way, right? Currently, I mean, it's gapping up. It's looking good. Currently, it's looking like a pretty decent inverse head and shoulders. So yeah, we'll see. This looks good. I got to add Microsoft to Softy. I think they acquired, or they're in talks with the AI company. I forgot what it's called, but with the chat AI company. Isn't that the news on them? And it kind of bounced off of the 200 weekly. Ooh, awesome. Yeah, cool. I think, well, I read it earlier on Twitter, just something related to Microsoft and the AI company. So I mean, again, it could be wrong. Twitter is not always accurate, but I'm literally basing my judgment off of Twitter. So I don't know. One of you guys might have to check. Tessie. Oh man, I don't know if you guys remember me saying on this day, I was like, this is a pretty decent gap up. And don't get caught sleeping on Tessie. Seriously, this guy has been so beat down. A retest of this trend line is in play. It's got to. I mean, this is the lowest it's ever been in RSI. It's definitely beat down. Some bears got to take their profits. They have to. So, I stopped trading Tesla, I think, around this mess right over here, because it was getting too extended. And obviously what a big move down I've missed. but it was getting too extended in the bearish direction. I think if I have to, even for a day trade, it's just a neat little high wave candle. Although it looks more like an inverted hammer, it is a high wave candle. Break above it, looks good till the 20 EMA right over here. Break below it, we will go fill that gap. But, you know, the money is in a bullish direction right now. So there's not much stopping it if it goes higher. Unless, I don't know, unless the news breaks out on this, but I would want it to go higher so I can short it again. But this looks cute. Love the divergence. Well, yeah, love the divergence, love the double bottom that's happening. Looks cute, really. Guys, keep an eye on Tesla on the daily. Let's look at the hour. Oh, sorry. All right, let's look at the hourly real quick. The hourly looks cute too. It is a inverse head and shoulders breakout. Well, not really an inverse head and shoulders, but yeah, the hourly looks cute too. I mean, you know, it's filled all of its gaps. I think a bounce around here could certainly happen. It would look nice. It is in this channel, so I'd be interested if it breaks out and goes higher. That would be really cool. So let's see what happens to Tessie. It's not dropping as much as, you know, some of the other tickers are. So yeah, we'll see. Amazon, let's look at Amazon. So this is what I mean, you know, this signifies weakness because it's not in synchronization with the overall market, right? Some of these bullish tickers didn't have what looks like an inverse hammer looking gnarly. Amazon, in my opinion, is still, and I know, you know, a lot of people will think or contradict this statement, but I think it's still overpriced, needs to pull back a lot more. So where are some longer term moving averages? Let's see. We'll turn on SMAs. Oh, on a weekly level, we're way off. All right, never mind. On the monthly, we're at the 100. Ooh, that's interesting. Cool. All right. For, you know, as far as our day trade's concerned, it's going to do what the overall market does, right? So I'm not really worried about it. Even if it's a bear trade, I'm actually leaning more bearish on Amazon than anything else. It's at this trend line and it could pull back. Sure, absolutely. So this goes in our bear basket compared to NVIDIA, AMD, and Tesla. And then we can come back and look at it and see what happens on it. So Jesse says Chat GPT. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I gotta pull it up. I have no idea which one they're talking about. Meta. So I know this is not a company that we normally look at a lot, but this really on the daily is looking great. This little pennant pattern on Meta on the daily broke. And I mean, guys, broke how? With like a massive gap up. We fill this gap and now we're just finding footing. I think it's extremely crucial for Meta to hold this 129 level. If we dip back below, we're going to come retest this pennant pattern. That's just my opinion. So I think it's really crucial for Meta to bounce off of these levels. Going to get interesting in the next couple of days. As far as a day trade's concerned, we're already opening below the 129 level. So as far as a day trade's concerned, I'm looking in the bearish direction for sure. Hourly, yeah, this is looking good. So, you know, if we had to put a trend line here, we're breaking down on this. So, and it is a retest gap. So I'm not going to go short right off the bat, but I think Meta is certainly due for a pullback. It's looking great for a pullback. So we will keep this in mind. This will go on top priority for a short compared to some of the other ones. Meta and then Amazon will stay below it. Okay, cool. Let's go look at Google real quick because that is one of the companies that we look at a lot too. All right, Google. What is everybody's opinion on Google? I still feel like it is extended it is overpriced still, and I would still like it a little bit lower. but it's kind of sort of extended. I don't know. Honestly, when I look at charts like these, they're not extremely motivating to be a long-time investor. This gap down on Google right now is just damaging. Earnings seasons is going to be a lot of fun this year. This is a pretty gnarly gap down on Google off as a 10 EMA. So I think bearish is the direction all day today on it. I will see if we fade at open a little bit and then roll over. That's a good plan. You know, it's a good thing to look at all of these companies early in the morning. And see what's going on, which direction are they all gapping in, because that's going to take the broader market with it, right? So if you are primarily a futures trader, for example, I trade Qs. I love NQ, or ES for that matter. I'm looking at all of these other tickers and seeing which direction it could potentially go. A lot of things are gapping down, and so then I do think that these are retest gaps and they could pull up. So a pull up on NQ at open, a rise at open should definitely be interesting, and then a rollover. So that rollover is where I'm banking my money, where I'm putting my money. That's what I'm hoping for. So I'm really, I'll wait and watch and see what happens there. But yeah. That says Google needs to buy Chat GPT. Yes, that would be cool. Maybe I'm sure they're in talks. I have no idea, but I know there was some news with Microsoft. Now somebody has to look it up because now it's going to bother me all day. Let's look at Netflix. This was one of those, unexpected things on Netflix. I did not at all anticipate this move up at all. So on this day with this gap down, I was like, yup, we're going lower, definitely going lower. And I bought puts, and then I got stopped out on this day because it was Friday, last year's last day of trading. And I was like, I don't know if we open tomorrow with good news and it goes higher, and good riddance. I mean, thank God, because this was the original channel that I should have been looking at. And I was looking at this trend line. So anyway, good riddance, and I got saved by a hair because this would have been a total 1 hour loss for no reason. It's extremely bullish in a bearish market. So, just be careful with this. Needs to pull back, I know, but just be careful with Netflix. Netflix is notorious for rising before earnings. So earnings are coming up. Be careful with this guy. Jason says Google has a Chat GPT. It's called La MDA. Ooh, okay, cool. What's Boeing doing? Boeing still at the 203 level. I think if Boeing at open could just come down to 200, that would be a cool fade up, guys. So, if it can pull down to 200 and not regain too much, I think it'll be interesting to see what it does. Let's go back to our NQ level real quick. So let's go to the 4 hours just really quickly. Yeah, like I said, it needs to hold this level. And to me, it looks like it's just really just retesting it and asking for a rollover. You want to swing this phase. This is a good idea. If we go below this guy right here, on the hourly, you might see that level properly here. So we go lower than this, interesting short, right? Agree? And then hold it all the way down to here. That could happen today. I mean, the Qs can move a lot in a day. So hourly looks like a beautiful head and shoulders. So yeah, we'll see what the JP effect does to the Qs today. The market is open, unfortunately, guys. We got to stop streaming. Hit us with a like and subscribe to our channel if you don't already. That would be wonderful. I will see you guys next Tuesday. Good luck trading out there. Awesome. Give me 1 second, okay, guys? Hey, Dan, if you're out here, will you stop the stream on YouTube, please? Or if any of the moderators are out here, that would be nice. Okay, cool. Well, we'll let them